In the ever-shifting landscape of internet personalities, the term Lolcow has long been used to describe someone who consistently makes a fool of themselves online, someone whose antics inspire mockery, but very rarely elicit fear or disgust. For years, Foodie Beauty fit into this category. Her bizarre lifestyle choices, her dramatic meltdowns, and the constant oversharing made her a source of endless entertainment for reactors and spectators alike. She was messy, she was unpredictable, she was loud, she was ridiculous. Qualities that made her a classic lolcow. But over time, something changed. The laughter that once accompanied her content began to grow a little bit quieter and became replaced with a feeling of unease. The jokes became a little bit harder to make, and the entertainment value soured into something a little darker. Foodie's story has become less of a comedy and more of a cautionary tale. She is no longer simply a lolcow. She has evolved into what many online observers now call a horror cow. At the start of everything, Chantal's main draw was her chaotic relatability. Many of her viewers felt they related somehow to something or other that she shared. She broadcasted her life with zero filters, and audiences laughed at her impulsive choices. All the failed diets, all the messy mukbangs and over-the-top rants. She was the embodiment of someone who lived online without a shred of self-awareness. The stakes were pretty low during these early days. And don't forget, during that time, Amberlynn Reid ruled gorlworld, and Chantal was just trying to ride Amber's torrid frocks into notoriety. People tuned in to laugh at Chantal, at her overeating, her storytelling, and her really petty internet slap fights. Even when she embarrassed herself on the daily, the consequences seemed confined to her own reputation. Viewers could simply enjoy the absurdity that was Chantal without feeling complicit in something a little darker. Over time, however, Foodie's behavior escalated. She began weaponizing her audience, soliciting money under dubious circumstances multiple times, forever playing the victim, and manipulating vulnerable, often naive fans. The lol and lolcow started to fade when real people were being scammed, doxxed, and emotionally exploited. Her relationships only heightened the horror. The abusive dynamics she involved herself in and then broadcasted for profit, and profit she did, blurred the line between content and trauma. What once felt like laughing at a clown on the internet now felt like watching a train wreck with actual, real human consequences. The audience became unwilling witnesses to toxic patterns of behavior, and they were unable to look away, but they were disturbed by what they were seeing. Chantal forced her audience to become almost its own character in the absolute hogwash that was her stalkership with Nads. No longer confined to watch the mess play out on the screen, Chantal went so far as to create a safe word she could use should she ever need the audience to step into the real world to send help her way. Thousands watched in real time as her audience called the police to intervene in a domestic dispute that is known along the shady streets of YouTube as CPAP Rescue. You had to be there, and if you weren't, count yourself lucky. This escalation of the parasocial relationship from passive audience to active participants shifted Chantal, in my opinion, dangerously close to horror cow territory. Around this time, Chantal also perjured herself to the police and provided a false alibi to Nads when he was accused of the essay of an elderly woman. This despicable act moved Chantal's king in check. The final nail in the coffin for me, my lovely friends, is when Chantal exploited a child with special needs to buy herself fast food and a hotel room for a week. No matter how you slice it, checkmate Chantal. Today, Foodie Beauty represents something much darker. The horror cow is not just embarrassing. They're destructive, manipulative, and frightening. Where lol cows often invite ridicule, horror cows provoke dread. Foodie's manipulations of charity money, her dangerous cultural cosplay, and her cruel treatment of supporters and critics paint a picture not of a bumbling clown, but of a malicious operator. Her once harmless absurdity has curdled into something exploitative and predatory. The entertainment value is pretty much gone, and it's now replaced with moral unease. People don't just laugh anymore, they recoil in horror. The horror comes not from jump scares or gory pictures, but from the slow realization that this isn't simply just content. It's a live chronicle of a miserable woman willing to harm herself and others for attention, money, and a little bit of notoriety. The transformation from Lolcow to horror cow matters because it changes the way the audience engages with that creator. Laughing at a lolcow feels silly. It feels harmless, right? But watching a horror cow feels complicit, almost icky. The spectacle's still there, but the tone has definitely shifted. People may start to question whether their viewership enables further cruelty, exploitation, or even abuse. That inner turmoil is normal. You're human. In Foodie's case, however, the shift illustrates how de-influencers can spiral in public, dragging their audience down with them. What began as a mockery of a messy YouTuber has morphed into collective unease about enabling a harmful figure. Foodie's trajectory is a sobering reminder that internet characters are real people whose choices have real consequences. Once a classic lolcow, she was silly, oblivious, and ridiculous. She's crossed into horror cow territory now. Her antics inspired dread more than laughter. This evolution is a cautionary tale about the dark side of YouTube. How a figure once mocked for her absurdity and foolishness can become feared or hated for their cruelty, and how an audience's relationship with that figure shifts from lighthearted entertainment to a disturbing parasocial horror story. I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you think Chantal is still a lolcow, or has she crossed over into horror cow territory? Please leave me a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, friends. I'll see you in the next one.
You know, like I always just did what I felt like I had to do at the time to survive it, you know? I just feel so emotional, and I don't know why. Why did nothing turn out the way it was supposed to? I'm too fat to put my head on the steering wheel.